Good afternoon. Thank you for joining me again for part 2 of this live training for Facebook. So yesterday I put, actually this morning I had put that it's amazing to do firsts. So yesterday was one of my firsts. I did a first live Facebook training. I've done live Facebooks before, but not ever training. So that was a lot of fun. And I had a lot of amazing positive feedback from viewers and people that caught me on the replay. So if you want to let me know that you're watching today, please send me a like or a heart. I love comments, certainly questions. So Melanie from the Hub Creative Group here is off to the side, and she's monitoring that, and she's going to be sending me questions that people are posing for me today. So I'm really excited that people got value from the content from yesterday. So I hope that you received the same again today. So today we are talking about 2 more subjects that have to do with vision boards. And I'm taking them out of this little ebook, which you can easily download from wsluice.com/5steps. So this little ebook is available to you. It's not really that little, actually. It's fairly comprehensive. And we touched on part 1 and 2 yesterday, which had to do with dreaming and digging. And then today we're going to do 2 more Ds, discover and declare. I had to kind of laugh to myself, discover, because as I was driving here, I saw the Ontario license plate, yours to discover. And I know there's been some talk about changing that. So this is yours to discover today. So I'm really excited for you to, let's talk about this. So I'm just gonna put my glasses on here. And what I wanted to talk to you today about is when you're choosing your images, and we talked about that yesterday, about dreaming big and discovering, one of the things that you're wanting to do is check in with them. And I know there has been a guru online who is helping people figure out their possessions and editing their possessions. I did something similar to that last summer, where I used the 90-90 rule, where if I hadn't used it in 90 days, or I didn't think I was going to use it the next 90, I got rid of it. Now, I didn't actually throw things away. I gave things to charity. I put some things in storage, but I really edited my possessions and my life, and it felt fantastic. And I encourage people that come to the vision board workshops to do something similar to that, where you want to look through the images that you chose and edit them and get in touch with it to see how it feels. So feeling that image. The other thing about discovering the images and what's on your board is leaving some space. And what I mean by that is to physically leave some space on your board. Now, if you see other vision boards online, many of them look like collages where images are overlapping. It looks almost like a high school project. It's very vibrant. It's got lots of things going on for it. But what I feel is that the images then compete with one another. And even though this is a very fun endeavor and you're going to have a great time putting together your vision board, it's more than just a craft project. It's about being reflective, getting focused on your images. And by leaving physical white space around each image, you're allowing your eye to have a place to rest. So in between each of those images, as you reflect on them daily, twice daily, hopefully, you're going to be able to fully focus in and have your attention on those images. So that's one reason. The other is, I think that it gives your image respect. So if I think about my home, I've got things placed on shelves. Like if you just had things, like all just kind of haphazard right on top of each other, it doesn't really show off, the prized possession that you have, or the heirloom. For example, I have my grandparents' vase, and I have it sitting singularly all on its own on a shelf because I want the light to shine on it, and I really want it to present itself and to be something of beauty. And I think that when the images have that white space around them, it gives them that honor and that space and that respect that they deserve as well. So that's a little tip for you around discovering your images and putting them on your board. So as I was saying yesterday, I had just come off a weekend with a girlfriend, and I actually did some shopping with her. And one of my purchases was this dress that I'm wearing today, which I thought was so pretty and I loved. But just like finding images, and the same, I was thinking about purchasing this dress. It took me a little while to decide if I really wanted it. In fact, I waited a number of hours. I went and did some more shopping and came back and thought, yes, this is what I want. The reason why was because I needed to visualize what was it going to look like in this space against this brick wall here for you. Was this going to be something that was going to be a good fit? So I think that's the same thing with your images, is to look at it and visualize, is this what I want really to embody my goals, to embody my dreams? So to visualize yourself right in that image. Something else I want to talk about with discovering is power words. I'm not going to get into a lot of it today, but do you have a power word? If you do, drop it below. Put it into the comments what your power word is for this year. As I said yesterday, my power word last year was believe. This year, my power word is ready. So a power word can be something that's very concise, that will give you that focus, a lens to look through, that's inspirational, that's something that just almost rattles around like a little pebble in your shoe that you just can't shake, but it's really inspiring to you. So if you have such a word, to put that on your board as well in a real prominent position. The last tip I'm going to give you around this first part around discovering is around adhering your images to the board. So I've had requests from people that say, can I use a cork board and just pin my images? You can, and again, there's no hard, fast rules around doing a vision board, but I think that there's something very committal about gluing and adhering your images to your vision board, so that you're saying, even by gluing, I'm declaring this image, this dream is what I want in my life. So I think, and I've heard people say that, is like, almost take a deep breath and go, oh, okay, this is what I'm going to put on my board and this is what I want for my life. So yeah, it's a declaration. So that moves me to my next piece around the second part of the D's today is declaring. So there's something beautiful that happens in classes. One of the workshops, I do the 7 life areas, which is what you're doing with a masterclass, which I'm going to talk a little bit more about, that we're going to be launching tomorrow. It's happening tomorrow already. But there's also another workshop that I do that has a larger component around interpretation. And I think when people put their images on their board, as I said, they can visualize themselves wearing the dress in the image, so to speak. But if you have a friend that can offer their interpretation of what they see, so it's almost like artwork. Like, you know, when you go to an art gallery and you stand in front of a painting and you see something in it, but then the next person coming along can see something entirely different. Well, that's what can happen as well with your images, is that your friend can give you another interpretation and really broaden your view. I had that, for example, with I put last year a little Amazon box on my vision board, and for me it symbolized savings. I wanted to do more savings. I wanted to see my bank account grow, and so I was telling this to one of the participants. I'm like, well, I've really been investing in my company and haven't done a whole lot of saving, and that's something I want to get to. And she said, well, you know, it doesn't really look like a savings box to me at all. What it looks like is an Amazon box. And I thought, that's amazing, because you'll find out tomorrow as we're launching, one of the other things that we're doing along with the course is we're launching starter kits for vision boards as well. And she said, didn't you talk about kits that you're going to be mailing them out and people can purchase them? And I'm like, oh my word, yes. So had I not had that interpretation from her, I would have really thought, you know what? It's a goal that didn't manifest. Instead, I understand that subconsciously I had this kit on my vision board all along, even last year. Amazing. So one other thing around interpretation and declaring is color choices. I love when this happens. So I don't talk about this usually ahead of time, so now you've got the inside scoop. But what I've done before with participants is once they've got their board all done and they raise the board and then we look at it together, you can see usually you can see kind of a common theme that's throughout that is a dominant color. And then to have an interpretation of what that color means, green or blue, it's a beautiful process as well and can be very, very comforting to someone. Let's see. Oh, and then the other thing I want to talk about with declaring is affirmations. Do you do affirmations? Do you know what an affirmation is? I really didn't know until I really started this whole process about what affirmations were and the power of affirmations. So affirmations are a positive statement that affirms you're already having accomplished that goal. So it's said in the future tense. And it's used to program your subconscious. So you say it out loud. And the premise is that if you say it for 30 consecutive days, it actually changes the composition of your brain. So make sure you don't have a break in there, but that you say it for 30 days. And out loud is even more powerful. I had a participant tell me she says them into the mirror to herself. So imagine that, saying that to yourself in the mirror. I say them in the car on my way to work. So I want to just challenge you to develop an affirmation based on your goal and make that your declaration and say that every day for 30 days.
We do have one question. Is it okay to put cars and clothes on my vision board? Is it too superficial? Can my dream car really make me happy?
That's a pretty deep question. Can your dream car make you happy? I've seen a lot of happy people driving sports cars, so I think there's a sense of happiness there, but deep happiness I don't think comes from possessions, and we all know that. I think true happiness comes from serving others, from finding your purpose and discovering that. So possessions will never make you happy. Certainly that sense of accomplishment combined with enjoyment is what's going to truly make you happy. But having said that, can you put possessions on your vision board? Absolutely. And one of the things that I talked yesterday about the 7 life areas that you'll have to be able to put your goals into. I also challenge people to put in a Santa gift. So what is something that you've always wanted that you would never buy for yourself? It's very frivolous, that only Santa would bring you. I've seen diamond earrings, luxury cars, and it's really exciting when these things show up for people. So absolutely, you can put on a dress on your vision board. I've seen shoes, and actually I've seen a Mercedes, and this was last year, and this woman put on a Mercedes. She put the exact make, the color, right down to what kind of wheels she wanted, and I'll tell you, she drove off the lot with that Mercedes this past winter I think it was January. So yes, it can happen, and she looked pretty happy, and I'll tell you from her Instagram, she still looks happy. So I hope that answers your question. So the last thing I want to say to you is about declaring is making sure that you put your board where it's visible. So it sounds kind of silly, but I actually was at a vendor show this past winter, and I asked a number of women about whether they had made a vision board before, and I was surprised how many people actually had. As I said, this is not a new concept. This has been around for 20 plus years, but we're just understanding now the power of the brain, knowing what we know now around new brain research, and we've taken out the mysticism behind it and understand that it's actually scientific. The law of attraction is actually scientific. But I asked these women, so what happened? Like, you made this vision board. It sounds like you had fun doing it. Did things manifest? And I think 100% said no. And so I asked them, well, why? And they said, well, I didn't really know what to do with it. So I think that's the key, and I hope you come back tomorrow, because we're going to talk more about action and how to get your board to work for you, because it's not going to just mystically and magically start to work for you. Even though you have gotten focused, you've done the discovery, and you've said your declaration, but it's really also in terms of the action to move that forward. So I hope you come back tomorrow for more training on that, as well as our big reveal for our launch of our masterclass. So I'm super excited about that as well. So put your board where you can visually see it, whether that be on the back of your closet door. As I said, in my bathroom, I have it behind me as I'm brushing my teeth. I can see it twice a day. Where do you have your board? Let me know. Put it down below in the comments. I'd love to hear that, or ideas of where you'd put your board. And the last thing I want to say to you today is when I've done the workshops, and at the end, there's a declaring of the boards. And what that looks like is the men or women hold their board, they've got the images on it, and then they talk about each one of their dreams. And the protocol that I give is to say, I will. So I will own a Mercedes. I will go to China. And it's even better if you can put a date with it, and within that year, like I will go to China by September 2019, whatever that might be. So whatever your dream is on there, to say it out loud. And as I said yesterday, sometimes emotion shows up when people say what they want. Well, the same thing happens when people are declaring and hear their own voice saying, I will. And they're saying these things. What's incredibly beautiful is I've seen people as well come in almost looking defeated, head down, and then by the end of the class, they're standing tall and they're making their declarations with confidence. It's a beautiful thing, and actually physically changes people in terms of that confidence when they're declaring. So those are my 2 things today: discover, declare. I hope you join me again tomorrow for part 3, where we're going to be talking about action. So dare to dream bigger, action and accountability. So again, that's the last part in this little ebook. You can find that ebook again on debbiesluice.com/5steps. And I'm looking forward to seeing you again tomorrow. So thanks for watching, and have an amazing afternoon. Cheers. Bye.